You're watching Good Morning Nigeria on the network service of the NTA, and to begin our conversation on identity management and national development, here's a background report put together by Oyeyemi Ajayi.
On the 29th August 2019, the federal government of Nigeria gave the approval for the yearly recognition and observance of the National Identity Day. National Identity Management Commission (NIMC) had announced that September 16 has been approved as a special day by the federal government. The essence was to create awareness on the importance of identification as a modern tool for national development and social cohesion. The choice of the date September 16 was in recognition of Sustainable Development Goal SDG 16.9, which calls for a legal identity for all, including birth registration, by 2030. As of December 10, 2018, a data analysis organization revealed that 33 million Nigerians were captured in the National Identity Number database, while calling for need to widen the process, as this reflects about 20% of the estimated population of the nation. To ensure that there is a coordinated approach to the identity management process in Nigeria, the federal government had earlier approved the immediate commencement of the implementation of a strategic roadmap for a digital identity ecosystem in Nigeria. This is a framework that leverages on the existing capabilities and infrastructure of distinct government agencies and private sector organizations to carry out enrollment of Nigerians and legal residents into the National Identity Database. A coordinated national digital identity ecosystem for the country has been beneficial to drive financial inclusion, detect fraud, tackle crime, aside resolving identity issues in the country, amongst others, and over time, all these have been achieved and strengthened. The introduction of the National Identity Number, NIN, was a major game changer. The NIN is used to tie all records about an individual in the database and is also used to establish or verify his or her identity. All citizens and legal residents in Nigeria from age 0, that is from birth and above, are eligible to enroll for their names. The importance of NIN reflects along the entire life cycle of individuals in the country, as it becomes a veritable document of identification for services. However, many are still calling for better strengthening of the national identity management in the country, such as preventing it from being easily accessed by foreigners to carry out their nefarious activities in the country. Now, what more can be done for the identity management protection in the country? Also, how well has national identity aided national development? Our guests will be answering these questions and more shortly.
Thank you very much, Oyeyemi Ajayi, for that background out there. Now joining us to discuss identity management development, national development. I'd like to introduce first Princess Dr. Nkoyo Iwok. She's the Director, Procurement, National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, and Chairman 2024 ID Day Committee. You are welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
All right. Also joining us is Kayode Adegoke. Kayode Adegoke is the Head Corporate Communications, National Identity Management Commission, NIMC. Kayode, you're welcome to Good Morning Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, NTA. And good morning, Sars and Haja. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, thank you.
Don't call me Aja before they come and catch me. And we also have our regular on Good Morning Nigeria always, and it's always a pleasure to welcome you, Mr. Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. We call each other we are virtual friends actually. We only meet in the studio. Good morning.
It's a pleasure. Good morning.
We meet in the air, now we are in the studio together.
Yeah, I mean, once in a while we should get together.
Inshallah.
You're welcoming the chief Asorombayi of Nigeria.
That's off camera.
All right. So, okay, let's kickstart our conversation now with Princess. Let's just find out what is the current state of identity management in Nigeria, and how does it impact national development?
Well, thank you so much. The current state of identity in Nigeria is we've come a long way, and So far, we have 110 records in our database. 110 million records in our database. And those records are unique, are very unique identities, and it's not something that it can be verified. And it also, we collaborate with the security agencies to ensure that a lot of all the security issues are handled. We know there are a lot to do, but we've really done a lot in terms of ensuring that citizens are captured. We ensure that citizens get their national identification number and also use it to access services, because now the federal government is saying that most things are going to be tied to the NIN. And it is very important for them to get that identification number.
It's very important for everybody to
Yeah,
have it, actually.
very, very.
So let's come to Mr. Aduke. What is the theme of this year, and how is the event going to be like?
Okay, let me start with the theme. The theme is digital public infrastructure, enabling access to services. But first and foremost, let me trace us back to the origin of the National Day of Identity. It started sometimes around 2018, and it was crafted in line with the Sustainable Development Goal 16.9, which affirms legal identity for all. And one of the pinnacles of the celebration or the commemoration of the National Day of Identity is to raise awareness about having a legal identity, because it has been discovered that all over the world, including Nigerians, that there are a lot of people who don't have a legal means of identity. And that is why the National Day of Identity is being commemorated to raise awareness for Nigerians and even legal residents in the country to have a legal identity. And you know, by the act of assembly that set up the NIMC, the national identification number is a legal identity. So it is compulsory for all Nigerians and legal residents to have it. And when you look at the theme of the event, the digital public infrastructure, the NIN is a digital identifier. It is not an analog identifier. Why did we call it digital? Because it can be verified real-time online, anywhere, anytime. And so for this year, we are saying that with your NIN can enable you to have access to various government services, not only government services, to also the private sector services. For instance, you want to get your passport, you need the NIN. So the NIN enable you to have access to having your passport. Also, if you want to get your SIM card or to replace your SIM with the telcos, you need the NIN. So the NIN is a digital identifier that enable you access to that particular service. Also, for the banking sector, if you want to open an account or you want to upgrade your account, you need the national identification number to do so. So that is why the digital public infrastructure access to services, enabling access to services, means the NIN is enabling the citizens to have access to services and also to affirm their identity legally within a verifiable environment.
Okay, the NIN helps citizens to have access to facilities and all that. Now,
Sure.
let's bring in Jide Ojo now. Having looked at the importance of this namesake that is being identified, how does the lack of effective identity management affect economic development,
Of course it does.
security, and social services?
Sure. I think we are a late starter in trying to have unique identity for Nigerians. This whole thing started under President Obasanjo. Many countries, you can't go to US now. Your social security number is, without it, you cannot even access so many services without your social security number. You could visit, but you cannot work. You cannot be gainfully employed unless you do all these behind the scene manual jobs where you get paid in cash. But your financial inclusions, financial services, you cannot be able to access it. So I said Nigeria is a lister because when you even consider the fact that for the first 5 years or thereabout, it was a false start somewhat. I recall that my first registration was in Lagos, but that was cancelled after a while, and we have to do the registration. And this was in the last 3-4 years that it has really become something that has been made compulsory.
It's vital now.
So I even want to commend the agency for having invested about 110 million of us. But that's half of the population, if you go by estimates. That's 220 million, or over 200 million Nigerians that we claim
so
to be.
Maybe just about half.
That's what I'm saying, that it's about half. But you see, the lack of it, we are shooting ourselves in the foot. Because security-wise, if we don't all cooperate and have our identities, it might be very difficult for security agencies to track the bad guys amongst us. Because, you know, when people do things anonymously, the only way you can identify them is if you have a way of tracking them. And the good news is that NIPSI and telecos are cooperating to ensure everybody get registered. So if you want to use your mobile phone, I think there was another deadline that was given for yesterday or 2 days ago.
I think today.
14th of September. So today is 16th. That was Saturday. That everybody using mobile phones should have their numbers registered. Because it does help our security agencies if we all cooperate. If you don't have anything, any skeleton in your cupboard, you should be able to voluntarily say, I want to have my national identification number. And then when you look at even the financial inclusion aspect of it, you can't benefit from palliatives, whether it's conditional cash transfer that government is giving and all of that, if you are not NIM compliant, because people want to know your true identity. People do look alike. I mean, you have seen people that's, I think you must be twins, you know. You are just like a carbon copy of each other. But you cannot have two individuals having the same fingerprints. And that's what is captured at registration. So it gives you that unique identity that it becomes very important to, even for your own safety and security, that you are registered. So not complying or being indifferent is actually can be counterproductive for you.
Okay.
I mean, you can't do any examination now, external examinations, if you don't have NIM.
Yes, if
Whether UTME, WAEC, WASC, NECO, whatever.
You can't even open a bank account. You can't have anything now except you have your NIM.
Yeah, so it's gaining traction. It's gaining traction, but I think the good news, because I recall that when the former minister for communication and digital economy, under which NIMSI was operating, you recall during the COVID-19 when it was made compulsory for everybody to register, people were like, oh, this is going to compromise our security. So why is it that can't we have multiple centers and all of that? And I think right now it's been made so easy for you to register, because even at if you want to do your international passport, you can register at the NIS office. So you don't have to necessarily go. When I registered, I had to go to NIMSI headquarters to do that. And it was very hectic. It was very onerous.
Yes.
But now, many more centers have been opened. I think telecoms are also opening. Yes. They have also opened registration points. So it's now so seamless that I will encourage everybody to get registered, unless you are the criminal elements amongst them who don't want to be identified. But if you are a law-abiding citizen, a patriotic one, everybody should be
Princess Iwok, Mr. Jide Ojo has sort of laid the foundation to further push this conversation. We have centers mostly in the cities and towns. How deep, as we celebrate this day, how deep have NIMSI gone to the local government areas to sensitize and enlighten people on the need to register this name as we celebrate this day, because most people don't even know this day exists actually.
Thank you.
We've not seen adverts or, sensitization on TV, radio and all that, encouraging people to come out and register, because the way things are going and the way I see things going, you can't do anything if you don't have a NIN in this country now.
Definitely.
Yeah.
NIMSI has done a lot in terms of partnering with private sector to ensure that the front end, we partner with the private sector through the front end partnership. So we've licensed some front end partners to go to the local areas and do enrollments for us, because we can't be everywhere, even though we are in all the local governments and state office. So these front end partners are actually in the locality enrolling people, and they are the ones that actually bring in a lot of enrollments.
How effective is it?
Very effective, because we've been able to capture so many Nigerians, which most of them are in the localities where these front-end partners are based. Before, most people have to come to the township to enroll. But front-end partners, we are encouraging them to go to the localities, most of them to entice people when they go to the localities. Some of them give soap, they give things, the villagers like all those little things. It entices them to come out and register.
That's good.
Yeah.
But what are the challenges that maybe your officials face in carrying out this registration? And what do you think, how do you think these challenges can be addressed?
Well, for our officials, I would say one of the challenges that we've encountered, we all know it, is about network. Network is very vital to our work.
Yes.
And in some localities, network is a problem, a very big problem. But we are partnering with, I think, Nicomsat and some other Galaxy Backbone to ensure that we get network in those localities. Some places it's hard to get network.
And
so
electricity too.
Yes, and then we have power issues.
Yes.
But all the same, NIMSI is doing its best.
Okay, Kayode.
We can't do all in one day.
Yeah.
Exactly, we can't do all in one day.
Okay. Kayode, you're the head of corporate communications of NIMSI. So how do you ensure citizen participation, and enrollment in this system?
Okay, thank you. Before I delve into that question, I appreciate what Mr. Jide said, and let me use this medium to thank our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and then the DG NIMSI, Engineer Bisoye Koka-Odushote. Why am I saying that? In the last couple of months, between last year, August, when the DG Engineer Koka-Odushote assumed the leadership of the NIMSI, a lot of things have changed. For instance, the number of systems that we have now have increased in the thousands. Okay. The president, through the DG, have been able to get us more systems, especially Android enrollment systems, the mobile enrollment devices, mobile, not fixed, to take to those interlands. And also, one of the cardinal points of Mr. President is to strengthen the identity database in the country. And the president has given us so many legal and political backing to say that for every services you use now, NIN is a compulsion. For instance, like Mr. Jide said, to write exams, to write UTME, to write WASC and so on, NIN is compulsory.
Even for birth registration.
Even for birth registration. And if you look at it, we are collaborating with the National Population Commission for birth registration. So that once you are registering at birth, you also have your NIN at birth. And also, what we are doing, what the DG has done, is to take enrollment further to the diaspora. Now we are in over 70 countries in the diaspora. So that Nigerians don't need, yes, more than.
All over the world.
We're all over the world. So that Nigerians don't need to come home and say, I want to register. Wherever you are, you can register. For instance, let me give you an example. Like in the US and Canada, which are big and large nations, we have, in the US alone, we have almost 1,000 enrollment centers spread across different states, counties, and everywhere in the US. Same thing with Canada, because we noticed that, for instance, for a Nigerian to travel from Florida to New York is far. So in that case, in Florida, in Miami, and other counties, we have enrollment centers. So the DG has done that. And going back to your question, I am writing my thesis on mass media and citizens' engagement in the national identity system. And one of the things I discovered is that to create awareness and mobilize Nigerians, we need the media. Yes. Media are very, very key.
That's what we're doing now.
Exactly, they are very key. In time past, maybe because of some infrastructural challenges, we are unable to do that. But in the last couple of months, like I said, since the assumption of Engineer Bisi Ekuka, you will notice that we have stepped up our media engagement. Now, we have regular media conversation with our media partners. We call them our strategic partners. Not only that, we are doing some paid advert in TV stations, including NTA, and radio stations, TV, also doing engagement on the social media platform. So what we want to do is that, because for Nigerians in the locality you mentioned, we need the media. And the media will help us to do what we call the two-step flow of communication. The media, because the media will be informed, the media will help us to engage, because it is not only to raise awareness, it's also to mobilize. Yes. And you cannot mobilize the citizens without engagement. The engagement includes, where do we go and register? The engagement includes, why do I need to register? The engagement includes, okay, if I register, what do I use the NIN for? So the media will do that for us. One-on-one communication might not be able to do what the media is doing. So in the last couple of months, we have raised our media awareness. We are doing more, and in the next couple of months, we will do more. Our goal is, if you look at the DG 5-point agenda, the goal is to enroll all Nigerians within the shortest possible time. In this SDG goal, the plan is by year 2030, every citizen must have a legal identity. But 2030 is far. So the DG's plan is that in the next couple of years, few years, we should be able to enroll all Nigerians, not only Nigerians, legal residents in the country. Because without the need, like Mr. Jide said, you can't access government services again. Not only government services. For the security agencies, the need is important for them. And I must commend them. I won't lie to you.
Okay, Kayode, is it only the media that you are collaborating with? What about the community leaders?
In fact,
what about the church, religious, and traditional leaders?
Okay.
Because you need to also collaborate with them for you to be able to reach to the people, especially the hard-to-reach areas.
Okay, let me emphasize. We have what we call a 360-degree engagement model.
Okay.
The 360-degree engagement model, which NIPSI is using, is to engage all stakeholders, either critical or subcritical. And for us, if you look at it, what we've been doing is to go to churches, to go to mosques, and to go to traditional places of worship, not only to raise awareness, but to also enroll. If you look at some mosques on Fridays, after Jumat, we put enrollment centers there. Churches on Sunday, once they come out, we put enrollment centers. So that
actually, I got enrolled in the church.
Okay, wow. So you see. So then schools now, we are taking our strategy since January this year is to take our enrollment devices to schools, because we noticed from our system that the bulk of the people that have not been enrolled are the children below 16. And so what we are doing now is to take the system to schools. So now schools are resuming, they resumed last week, but majority of them will resume tomorrow. So our plan is we have engaged our FEPs to go to schools to start enrollment. Also traditional institutions. We are making use of all traditional rulers. Like today's program, the traditional institutions will be represented. They're also coming. They're not only the traditional institutions, even the NGOs. There are so many NGOs that we're engaging with, and they are helping us, especially in the, let me give you an example, in the Northeast. What we are doing is to engage with the NGOs, the foreign and local ones.
We have the Norwegian Refugee Commission.
Yes.
That's partnering with us.
So
the Foundation.
Yes. We go to the IDP camps to also enroll the internally displaced persons. So we are not leaving any stone unturned. Then not only that, I'll give you an example. Like in Lagos and other states, we partner with the road transport people, so that in the park you will see a enrollment system. Because these people are also critical to us. And also, we have engagement with the Nigerian Correctional Services, whereby we also enroll all inmates across the country. So we have what we call the 360 engagement model of engaging our stakeholders.
Okay, sorry, just a moment, Jumai, just one more question. Because some people are still skeptical about this identity number. Why? Because they are afraid that the carelessness, all these hackers, they may have access to their details. So what, protection have you put in place, the agency has put in place to protect, citizens' data and, prevent identity theft?
Okay, thank you for that question. We have said it at several fora that the identity, especially the NIN of Nigerians, are secured, secured and safe. One of the things we have done is to provide the top-notch security architecture.
Okay.
And that is why I can tell you our database is foolproof. Okay. Well, in time past, there were so many noise here and there. We were able to debunk it. We were able to come out with facts. Yeah. And I want to tell Nigerians, identity, like Mr. Jide said, it's not about your face alone. The critical aspect of identity is the biometrics. Kayode and Mr. Jide, we might be twins. We might look alike. And people say, we don't know who is Taye, who is Kehinde. But for you to identify who Taye is from Kehinde, you need my biometrics. So we are showing Nigerians the biometrics, the demographics are safe, the data are safe in our database. Recently, we were awarded the highest certification in the security, the ISO certification, but highest all over the country. And it was done by an international agency. And every time, like I said, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done a lot for us. We have been able to improve our existing infrastructure in terms of our database, and we are doing that consistently and continuously. So we assure Nigerians, for us, the data is safe and secure.
All right.
Before I go to Jide, I still want to share with you, about off air before we started this conversation, I was asking you a question about the NIN slip. Okay. Because most of us have the slip without the card itself. So how can people who have slip, transit to getting the card? How do you get the card? And what are the features in the card that will enhance the security of the person who has the card itself?
Okay, thank you so much. Well, the NIN, the National Identification Number, is the most unique aspect of the identification system. Now, on the slip, you have the NIN. And that's why we say keep your NIN safe. Whatever services you want to access, it is the NIN that will be asked, not the card. However, the card is equally important because it gives like a physical identification to what you have done. Now, what we are coming out with in the next couple of months, very soon, we will inform Nigerians. We are going to launch what we call the revamped and improved version of the General Multipurpose Card. Okay. Now, this card has several applications. One of the applications is for financial inclusion. For instance, Mr. Jide mentioned the social security safety net when he talked the other time. Now, Mr. President wants Nigerians to have access to some form of relief. And this card might play a pivotal role in doing that. So this card, when it is launched by Mr. President, every Nigerian have the opportunity to get the card. Unlike what we witnessed in the past, the process is going to be streamlined and seamless. Seamless in the sense that we are partnering with the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and NIPS, that is Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, to make sure that this card is available to all Nigerians, not only through NIMSI offices, but also through the bank branches network. For instance, if you want to get your own card, you can go to any of your bank branches, apply for it, and the card will be given to you. Unlike what we witnessed in the past, if you want it to be delivered to your house, you can apply it to be done so. Also, we'll provide an online portal platform whereby at the comfort of your home office, you can also apply for this card. You can give your address. It might cost you a token for it to be delivered, the delivery fee, it will be delivered to you. And the card, it has what we call almost 19 or over 19 security features on it, so that it will be difficult for you to hack. And not that we are resting on our ours, we are also improving the security features. The card will come with a chip. The chip is because of the financial, so that you can use it to withdraw money on your ATM. You can use it to transfer money for financial.
So you wouldn't need the ATM.
No, you will.
No, of course.
You will, of course, you will. But we are saying, in addition to using it as a physical affirmation of your identity, also the chip, the NIN is embedded in the chip. Your data is also embedded. So it can be readable. There are some machines all over the world, they can read your data. But reading it does not mean your data is exposed. No, it is secured. Okay. You can only read it, but you cannot access it.
Some Nigerians will say how seamless, because they will say, why do I need to go and do all these things, go and apply, and why don't I just take my slip and collect my card?
Okay, because this time around, in the last, maybe like 3-4 years ago, we printed millions of cards, and we noticed that a lot of these cards are still in our offices. We've sent SMS, email, phone calls for people. They don't want to collect it. So this time around, it's going to be on need base.
Okay.
If you need the card, you apply, we give to you. If you don't need, no issue. But I want to assure Nigerians that you will love the card. You will need the card. So once the card is launched by Mr. President, I appeal to Nigerians to apply for the card. Within 24 hours, you have the card available.
It should be very easy to
Very,
get.
very easy. Very, very easy.
Without any monetary charge or whatever?
Well, that will be determined because we are partnering with the banks.
Okay. All right. Let's bring in Jide Ojo now. Jide, how do other countries, other climes, manage their identity, and what lesson can Nigeria learn from them?
Of course, I earlier spoke about the US system, which everybody knows. But most advanced countries have raised the bar to the point that, and I think this was also mooted in Nigeria, first at inception and even under the immediate past administration of President Buhari. I'm privileged to conversation that this card was intended to be a multipurpose, one-stop card for people to do numerous transactions.
Yeah.
I was privileged to observe election in Egypt in 2014. Did you know that you don't need voter's card in Egypt? You don't need it. Once you are 18, you are flagged. An SMS is sent to you that you are now qualified to vote. You use your national ID card in Egypt. Quote me. You need your national ID card to just go and vote. So you can just imagine how much we can save if we perfect this system, that we are able to capture everybody, and NIMSI can collaborate with INEC to say, okay, for Edo or Ondo governorship election, these are the people who have qualified, in addition to those who already have their cards. You understand? So all this interagency rivalry, okay, I pick a driving license, 1, I bank debit cards, 2, then I have voter's card, 3.
You have so many cards, carrying so many cards.
In your purse, you're having like 5, 6, 7 cards for different purposes.
Then you have your ATM cards as well.
That's what I'm saying. So you can have an integrated system that you don't necessarily have to have multiple cards. There could be an exception. You may not be able to have it as your international passport.
Yeah.
But it could serve several other. Why can't it be used as a debit card? Instead of you to have a separate debit card, to have to debit or to credit. But
because the debit card expires.
Yeah, well, debit card expires. This does not expire. But what I'm saying is that given the level of technology and where the global system has been, there are so many integrations. And I think Mr. Kayode can bear me witness. President Buhari actually set up a committee to integrate, harmonize. About 5 years ago. That was a presidential order. I don't know where they are, whether they succeeded, whether there was stumbling blocks, whether there was roadblock, but I knew that there was a presidential order for this data to be integrated, so that Nigerians can have a seamless services. So that is where we should be, and I'm glad by many of the information that my people from NIMSI have been able to tell us where they are headed in the next couple of months, and efforts that they have made for seamless registration or enrollment. I think as we look towards that, getting everybody, maybe in another 3-5 years, we should look at how to reduce the number of cards that Nigerians will have to carry. That way, it also helps, because when you have that kind of incentives, that's when people will see the need to have this. Do you know that many people will collect voters card despite not wanting to vote, but they know that if they want to travel within the country and they are looking for means of identification, they will just bring it up.
Voters card.
So that's all they want to do with their voters card. But you know, if you have a card that serves you, you know, in different ways, it could also be an incentive to get people to voluntarily, willingly, without being coerced, without being cajoled, to also participate in that process. So, and if we can get to the level of where US has been as a social security number, it's very key, because that has helped US in managing security. You understand? Your social security number, wherever you are within the US, you can be tracked.
Yeah. So would you say that there is need for a policy framework, you know, to further strengthen our management of identity in this country?
Of course. I mean, the biggest room in the world, I mean, you can always better your best. Whether it's policy, whether it's legal framework, whatever that is needed to make NIMSI to be 21st century compliant is advisable. And I like the proactiveness of the new DG. And I pray that God will sustain her and that He will continue to get the cooperation and the resources she needed. Because I really didn't know that we even have over 70 countries across the world where you could seamlessly go and
register
enroll as a Nigerian without having to travel back home. Yes. And you know, as we talk about diaspora voting, in the nearest future, I mean, there is a push for it, even for 2027, that why shouldn't Nigerians in diaspora vote?
That's why creating awareness is so vital in this, you know.
Exactly. That's why it's very
because
important.
if you have not mentioned it now, it's part of awareness.
Exactly.
You know, people knowing that you have
that even across the country,
in the diaspora
outside
and
of
all
the
that.
country, you can actually register without having to travel back to Nigeria. So if we are able to look at the future, and I think it's also good to draw inspiration and adaptation from other countries that have used this to solve their security challenge, that have used it for financial inclusion, that have used it for even identification purposes, because it's very key. Even in case of missing person, you know, it could come handy, because and the good news about this is that even if you don't know your NIN, you can use short code to get it. Yes. Star 346 hash. Star 346 hash, and it will come. So you don't have to memorize it.
Okay.
You don't have to memorize it.
So you have short code for that.
Yeah, there is a short code.
What's the short code for it?
Star 346 hash.
Okay.
On the mobile number you registered with.
Exactly. It has. I've done it a number of times. So
Star 346 hash.
Okay.
He wants to copy.
Star what?
Star 346 hash.
Star 346.
You have to
I
pay
will
me
try
for
it now.
this.
I will try it now. And let's see how it
Let's
goes.
talk about inclusive citizenship now, and social services, border security and management, because Nigeria has porous borders, actually. And, you know, people can cross in from Cameroon, crossing from Niger, you know, and come into Nigeria. But some of them are even born here. They're practically Nigerians, and they can register this NIN. How do you find out that they are not Nigerians? How do you differentiate between Nigerians and the aliens coming into the country to register NIN? For security reasons, yes.
That's why we are partnering and harmonizing with the
Wow,
Nigerian
it came out. Sorry.
Immigration Service.
It came out.
Oh,
You have
so
to
you
pay
see?
me.
I just did it now.
Also, your number
And
came
the
out.
process came out,
Yeah.
but I had to pay 20 naira to get it.
Of course, it's not free.
So,
Okay.
Princess, let's talk about
So
the border
free,
management
okay.
and
Right,
immigration
that's good.
here now.
Okay, you know, immigration has a responsibility of the borders.
Yes.
So we have the responsibility of providing the need.
Yes.
And that's why that harmonization between Nigerian Immigration Service and NIMSI is vital. And that's what we've done. So immigration now works in partnership with NIMSI and is able to use our NIN to be able to manage border security and also trace people who are not Nigerians. However, our law says we should register legal residents. So it is important too to ensure that immigration also checks whether they are legal residents or not. So we can't take the job of immigration to do it.
Yes.
But in partnership and working in harmony, we'll be able to achieve that.
Yeah, I mean, managing border security. You see, that's the catch-22. Legal resident. It didn't say only Nigerians.
Okay.
So, will people be truthful at registration to say, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a Chadian, I'm a Cameroonian, I'm a Beninois, I'm a Togolese, I'm a Ghanaian? Will people be truthful? It's now left to the conscience of every individual, because by name you cannot distinguish anybody.
Yes.
By face, by
can't.
look, by mode of dressing, you can't. Until people are able to tell you, and you know that's also the challenge INEC faces. INEC will do continuous voter registration or voter registration, and you have people who are not Nigerians coming to register, and it took the support of NIS, Nigerian Immigration Service, to help to identify some of these people, but you can only do the limit you can. The most important thing is that let's even welcome them. Let's have them on the database.
Okay.
Because exactly, because if they didn't register and they commit a crime, they can escape.
Escape, yes.
But if they are registered, and of course, you know, with your registration and your mobile number, it's easy for you to be tracked anywhere you are. Anywhere you are. Unless you are not using mobile phone.
Okay.
Anywhere you are, if you are using a mobile phone, the level of technological advancement has gotten to, it's not available to every Tom, Dick, and Harry, but the security architecture of Nigeria has it. Even if you switch off your phone,
Yes, you can still.
they can tell you exactly the house number, the building that person is. It helps with managing security. I think those who want to evade or will not want to register are the bad guys.
Yes.
Who will want to remain anonymous, who don't want to have any official tracking of their identities or means. And that's why I think citizens should please support NIMSI to succeed. All these registrations we are asked to do, a clear conscience fears no accusation. If you know you are a patriotic citizen, there is nothing to be afraid of.
Yeah.
Because it can also come handy in helping you in moment of crisis.
True.
If you are registered and they can have a means of tracking you.
Those are some of the education that that you need to create. You know,
Let me give
that
you.
need
Let
to
me
really
give you.
educate the public.
Demola, let me give you an instance. When the security agencies were going to rescue those 20 medical students that were kidnapped in Benue,
Yes.
is it not their mobile numbers
Yes.
they will track?
Exactly.
It's when they get their numbers, they know where these numbers are.
Yes.
Even in the forest.
True. True.
You understand? Even in the forest. So, and with that, they can also flag their identities.
True.
You understand? Because it's already linked.
Yes, they mean
I don't know whether I'm confusing you.
No, you're making a point.
So it's linked.
We're still saying the same thing. And that brings us to the point again of, creating, adequate awareness amongst the populace. Today is the 2024 ID Management Day. I mean, what are some of the activities lined up for today, and what are the expectations?
Okay, today is our National Identity Day, and we have about some African countries that have come in, because Nigeria is like a bride that they all look up to in Africa. So we have Ethiopia, we have Sudan, we have Sierra Leone, and Cote d'Ivoire. They are all here for the day to also witness what we are doing. Also for today, we have 4 panel sessions. It's going to also be an intellectual day, not just coming and saying speeches and going. So we have 4 panel sessions with different topics that we are going to be talking about. So it's going to be very interesting. You're all invited. We're starting by 9, and I hope you'll be there.
How participatory, I mean, is it only for the high-class people?
No.
What about the general people, the public?
Everybody.
Everybody is invited.
It's an open door event.
Okay.
Yes, we have registration that has gone in, but it doesn't mean that if you come in, you cannot register at the registration desk.
Okay, Mr. Adegoke, we talked about community leaders, traditional leaders being part of this event. What about the youths?
Okay, yes.
I think you wanted to add
I wanted to add to what Princess said. That yes, the event might be strictly by invitation. However, we are going to streamline it live on all our social media platforms. That NIMSI website, NIMSI official website, NIMSI Facebook page,
Twitter,
Instagram page. Yes, X. So it's going to be live. But like you said, Mr. Jide, Mr. Demolaja, you are welcome. Once you come, we have a QR code. You scan it to register online. The essence is also for security to know those who attended. So you understand, we're identity management, so we should be able to identify those who are attending the program. And the program too is, we have several guest speakers, but the chief host, is Engineer Bisi Ekoka, but the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is going to be the chief guest speaker for the occasion. So we have the Senate President, the SGF, the Speaker House of Rep, they're all coming. We have traditional rulers, we have governors, we have the youth, like you said, from the Nigerian Youth Councils, we have representative, the Minister of Youth and Sports is also coming. Then, for the engagement of the youth, what we are doing, if you look at the population spread, we have over 50% of our population within the youth bracket, what I call like maybe between the 0 to 35, thereabout. 70%. 70%, yes, thereabout. So for all, that's our focus. And that's why between now and next year, we are going to come up with we call it a comprehensive communication plan. Our target will be the youth, because we notice that is where our enrollment, that's where,
the bulk of the population
that
actually
have not enrolled. Because if you look at the spread, 50 and above, almost 98% have enrolled. Yes. But below 20, we have fewer, especially below 16. We have fewer people that have registered. So our engagement will be with the youth. So what we want to do is, we want to partner universities, colleges of education, polytechnics, higher institutions of learning, secondary schools, primary school. And that is why we ran a competition. We call it a logo, the logo, submission of new logo for NIMSI. What we did was just to thematize it within the youth. Primary school, secondary school, and higher institution. Because that is part of our strategic engagement system.
And the winners have been invited for today's
Some people are even advocating for public-private partnership to enhance, this enrollment. How are you considering that at all?
That's what we are doing. Princess mentioned it earlier.
Doing it. We have front-end partners.
Yes.
Okay.
So
not only the front-end partners.
We've been talking
the telcos.
Yes.
Telcos, they are private.
Yes, they are private.
So we're also partnering with them for enrollment. When you go to any of the telco offices now, you will see our enrollment system there.
And you're partnering with NTA now.
Yes, we are partnering with NTA. I know NTA has always been our strategic partner. Our core strategic
So we've talked about the theme and how the event is going to roll out. We've not talked about the venue.
The venue is at the NAF Conference Center.
Okay.
Kado, Abuja.
Okay, Kado, Abuja.
Yes, it's starting by 9 a.m. And like Princess said, it's going to be an intellectually stimulating and engaging session.
So it's a one-day
It's a one-day event. But one-day event, but it's a continuous exercise. Because identity is a continuous exercise. And for us, we must continue to raise awareness about identity, I must continue to mobilize people to go and enroll, get their NIN, not only getting NIN, but ensuring that this NIN is used to access services. So NIN is not just in isolation, just like in the US, the social security number, if you want to be employed, you need your social security number. If you want to do anything in the US, the social security number is very key.
Okay.
So, and that is what we are doing now. And that is what Mr. President has mandated as part of the Renew Hope agenda, that strengthening of identity, the digital identity, is key and compulsory.
Is key and compulsory.
Most people say that when you have
why
the...
our team is digital public infrastructure, enabling access to services.
Okay. Jide Ojo, what about the what would you say would be the takeaways or recommendations from all this?
Well, it's been we have alluded to it. I think strategic communication that Mr. Adegoke has harped on is very important. People need to look at what are the benefits of being an enrollee. What do they stand to gain? Until they start seeing that, particularly, it's also good that you are looking at the demographics and you have realized that the youth are the ones that are hesitant to get on the enrollment, because they've really not seen themselves and seen to what advantage or benefits they stand to gain by being this. So what I will, in terms of strategic communication, is about having a targeted messages to schools, primary, secondary, tertiary institutions about, what they stand to gain, what security-wise, in terms of financial inclusion, in terms of access of social services, or even, all manner of wide range of services, and what the future portends, if they want to be part of the 21st century. For me, even though we are not where we ought to be, we are not where we used to be, if the kind of vision and the kind of zeal and enthusiasm that have been displayed by NIMSI in the last 5 years, if it had been there since the early 2000s, when it was started, we will have captured everybody.
All right.
But I think it was a mixture of 4 stars, no clear focus or no priority attention.
Now there is focus.
Now there is focus. Now there is attention. Now there is resources. Now there is partnership. So the partnership now needs to be concretized and make sure that all those people, the 360-degree partnership that which Mr. Adegoke has spoken glowingly about is consolidated upon.
Okay, consolidated upon. Okay, Jide, thank you very much for your contribution there. Because of time, we have another conversation coming up shortly.
I have a question.
Maybe you just have 60 seconds.
Yes, it's very fundamental. As we try to capture people who are leaving, a lot of people have died who have NIN numbers. So how can these numbers be reclaimed? To the maybe because a lot of people die and they are not registered. That's it's a very fundamental question.
Okay,
yes.
Before I answer that question, in addition to a quick one to the youth engagement, the strategic initiative by Mr. President to provide loans or make accessible to students all over through the NER fund is one of the ways NIMSI is partnering with the youth. Because to access the loan through NER fund, you need the NIN. So it's compulsory. And also for agricultural sector, we are partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture. Any youth that want to engage in agriculture must have the NIN. So it's part of the engagement. Now, coming back...
register.
Okay, you said,
Yes.
Okay, go ahead,
Yes.
please.
okay, the question on
People who have died, who have
now,
been,
now,
because we've seen in movies where
part of-
people take people
okay, it's
like
part of
in
the act.
abroad.
It's part of the NIMSI
Yes.
Act that the NIN will be rested upon the death
Death.
of the NIN owner.
That is if you know.
But no, that's what I'm saying. But the NIN will not be transferred to another person. It's only to an individual until the person dies and the NIN will be rested. However, we are working with the National Population Commission. We told you that very soon, before death certificate is issued. The NIN must. There's a process for you to rest your NIN. So that is one of the ways we are working with the National Population Commission, so that we will know
NIN
those.
is not reissued.
It's not reissued. So it's one of our, in the next couple of months, you will see some of these projects coming up. Before the death certificate is issued, the NIN must be stated clearly so that NIMSI can rest the NIN and remove it from the
system.
existing. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Princess, your parting words.
My parting word is that we want all of you to be there today and engage. The DG CEO is expecting that today's event is going to be a very intellectual one, and she has put in a lot to ensure that today's event comes out with international world-class standard. So I'm sure NTA will be there to cover
Of course,
us,
yes.
and for Nigerians to see how far the DG has gone in her 1 year in office.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Princess Dr. Nkoyo Iwok,
He wants-
Director, Procurement, National Identity Management Commission, NIMSI, and Chairman 2024 ID Day Committee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wish you success in your event for today. Also, I want to thank Kayode. Kayode Adegoke, Head Corporate Communications, National Identity Management Commission, NIMSI. You still have so much to talk about, but
about
we
it.
can't finish all the discussion at a go.
Mine is just to thank Nigerians for their unflinching support and steadfast towards the success of the national identification.
All right, they have
and also
heard.
to thank our strategic partners.
Okay, Nigerians have heard. Thank you so much for
Thank you so
coming.
much.
So we'll
Mr.
still have you
Ademola.
more time
No problem.
for more discussion, and our regular public
Egbon.
analyst,
Egbon, Jide.
Jide Ojo. Thank you as usual.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Good morning,
So,
Nigerians.
all right. We'll take a break now. Our second conversation will come up after this break. Stay with us.